Is social media essential for blogging success? Let's start with a clear answer. No, social media is not essential for blogging success. It does help promote your blog and expand your reach, but there are other ways to attract a larger audience to your website. Here's how you can grow your blog without relying on social media.
And now it's time for some more DIY SEO tips with Jennifer Regina.
Before we talk about the organic methods to grow your blog, let's go over the pros and cons of using social media as a promotion tool. Pros and cons of social media for blog promotion. Many people believe that social media is necessary for a successful blog because of several advantages. The first is they have a large built-in audience. By building a profile on that social media platform, you get to attract a segment of that audience, and hopefully it's a segment that matches the target demographic that you want to reach. Social media allows you to showcase your expertise in a space filled with potential readers. However, there are also downsides to social media. It can be a big distraction and a time sink. You might log in to make a post or maybe reply to a comment, and then you end up doom scrolling. And this can make the cons quickly outweigh the pros. Another drawback is that the audience that you're building remains on those social platforms instead of on your website. Ideally, you want people on your website because that's where you have the most control over the communication. Now, let's talk about how to grow a blog without social media. Number one is to make SEO a priority. So if you don't want to use social media to grow your blog, then make sure that you're focusing on search engine optimization, which is also referred to as SEO. SEO is used to attract people from search engines, and SEO should be your top priority to grow your blog if you don't want to use social media channels. So here is how you can use SEO to grow your blog. First, you want to make sure that you get clear on your target audience. You want to know exactly who you're trying to reach. You want to know who your target audience is for your blog. This will help you with SEO because when you are clear on who you're talking to, then it is easier for the search engines to understand when your content is the right match. So if you're clear on who you're talking to, it helps you create clear content because you're speaking to one specific person. But it also helps the search engines rank that content because it's clear who it's directed to. To get clear on your target audience, you want to make a marketing persona. And what this does is it helps you outline a fictional character. So you have a really clear picture in your head of exactly who your target audience is. If you haven't created a marketing persona before and you're not really sure about how to go about doing so, we actually have a template that you can use. So you could download our marketing persona template. It makes it really easy to walk through the process. And I will add a link to that in the video description, or if you're listening to the podcast, it will be in the show notes. The next thing that you'll want to do for SEO is to make on-page optimizations. So once you create your article, you want to create it with what the user needs and don't get too worried about SEO in the start. But then once you're fine-tuning and editing the article, you want to take a look at which keyword you're focused on for this article and go through and make a few optimizations on that page just to help it rank a little bit better for your targeted keyword. So some of the things you might change is adding the keyword to the title and to the first heading on the page and making sure it's in the first paragraph. You never want to compromise the quality of your article to make it better for SEO, but you do want to go through and figure out where are a few small tweaks that you can make to improve it so that it's easier for the search engines to understand what this is about and it's still a high quality content for the people that you want to reach. We actually have a full guide. We have a nice cheat sheet on exactly which on-page optimizations you should be looking at. So if you'd like to download that, I will include that in the video description and the podcast show notes as well. Next is you want to add internal links. So if you've looked into SEO at all, you've probably heard a lot about the value of links. And primarily, that's going to be referring to external links, which are the links from other people's websites that link to your website. And those are basically trust signals from the internet that your site is worth linking to, and therefore it is a trusted site. Now, external links are great and they are important, but they are difficult to get. What is easier are internal links, which don't have as much value as external links, but they are still important, and you definitely want to make sure that you are adding internal links. So internal links are links that are on your website and link to another part of your website. So they're not giving value from outside your website to your website, but they are passing the value around your website. So if your homepage is doing well in search and has a good trust signal there, adding a link over to another page is going to help show more trust to that page as well. So internal links not only help distribute the trust that you've earned for your website, but they also make it easier for your readers to navigate throughout the website. So what you want to do is add internal links to areas that it would make sense for your reader to move on to this other page. So whenever you add a new blog article, you want to go through that article and determine where the points are that you should be linking out to other existing articles. And you also want to go to those other existing articles, and whenever there's a reference that would be relevant to your new article, make sure you're linking back to that new article. As your blog grows, this process can become a little challenging. I actually have a shortcut that I have outlined in our article all about internal linking. So if you're interested in that, that link will be in the video description and the podcast show notes, just like the others. And to help prioritize SEO, you can leverage digital marketing coaching. Navigating SEO can be challenging, and there's no shame in seeking guidance. You can use the ClearPath Online service to get some digital marketing coaching, and then you would have me to help you along the way. When you use ClearPath Online digital marketing coaching, you not only have a coach to help you with some personalized recommendations and help guide you down the path, but you also receive an interactive digital marketing planner. And so that allows you to stay on top of your SEO in between the coaching sessions. So it doesn't matter what day it is, whether you have a session or you don't, you are able to go through and do what you need to grow your website with SEO. The combination of the coaching and the planning tools makes it really easy to optimize and see growth for your website. Okay, on to another way that you could grow your blog without social media, and that is by creating an email list. So while you're growing your blog, you want to make sure that you have a way to connect with these people, and an email list is a great way to do that. So a blog is a nice way to reach a large audience, but an email list lets you connect with people on a deeper level. And most people aren't interested in joining a newsletter. What you need to do is have some kind of a lead magnet. So some kind of an offer that's worth people exchanging their email address for. So this could be a template, it could be a cheat sheet, it could be an online course, it could be anything that would help your target audience. And then once people join your email list to get that asset, don't stop there. Continue to offer them valuable content and keep that communication with them. You do want to be aware that people have a limited time, so send them an email and make sure it's valuable, but also be concise and to the point. Don't take too much time. If you'd like more information on how to grow email subscribers, you probably know what I'm going to say. Like the other ones, I will have a link to learn more about that in the video description and the podcast show notes. Okay, and the next way to grow your blog without social media is to post regularly. So instead of spending your time to create social media content, make sure you're using that time to keep your blog consistent. You need to create regular blog articles so your readers and the search engines know when to check for the next new article. You need your blog content to be consistent, which isn't the same thing as being frequent. Choose a frequency for your blog that makes sense for you. So you don't need to post every day. You don't even need to post every week. But what you need to do is choose a posting time that you can stick to. So that could be monthly. It could be every other week. Just choose a time that makes sense for you and then stick with it. I wouldn't post an article every day. That's just going to lead to burnout. But say you have a week where you do have a bunch of time and you write 5 articles in the week, 1 each weekday. You could then take those 5 articles and schedule them out so they go on to your blog once a week, and now you have 5 weeks of content. Or you can go every other week and you have 10 weeks of content. So choose a consistency that makes sense for you and don't stress about how frequent the articles are. Even if it's monthly, that's great and there's nothing wrong with that. Another thing to keep in mind is you want to try and have your articles be evergreen content. So what that means is it's long-lasting content. It's not about a current event or something that won't be relevant next week or next month, but instead it is content that can apply now and in the future. And that is the type of content that you will see a lot more value from SEO because it will start ranking and it will still be valuable and people will see it and they will like it and that will help it rank higher. So the evergreen content is going to be your best bet to see good value from SEO. Okay, so we talked about a few ways that you can grow your blog without social media, but another really important part of social media is it helps you expand your reach. So here are a few ways that you could expand your audience without using social media. The first is podcasting. Podcasting allows you to expand your reach. So what you can do is after you create your blog article, you can repurpose it as a podcast. You could do some voiceover and you could put it on a tool like Buzzsprout and it will syndicate that episode over a whole bunch of different podcast networks. So now you're taking an article that you were already writing and putting it on several platforms that have their own audiences. The next is YouTube. Similar to podcasting, your blog articles can be repurposed as a YouTube video. YouTube is the second most used search engine, so when you add your content to YouTube, you can help reach a broader audience. And then I did want to talk about ads. So you can always reach a larger audience by paying for ads. Now, this is never a tactic that I recommend because once you stop paying for those ads, you lose that audience. So it's only a short-term value. I always prefer to try and grow my site organically because that gives you more of a long-term value. But growing your website organically does take time. So I did think that this was worth mentioning because if you have far more money than you have time, then ads could be a good route for you. Use social media how you want. The big takeaway here is to use social media however you want to use it. It is not a requirement, it is an option. It doesn't hurt to set up profiles on different social media platforms, even if you don't plan to use them. That way, if somebody's looking for your business and they look on a social media site, they can see, oh, this is the business I'm looking for, and it doesn't look like they really use this platform, but hey, I see their website right here. I will click on that and go over to their website. So you don't have to be active on social media channels. You can still have a profile there and use it basically like a business card to show people, yes, I exist and this is where I am. Another option is to use just 1 or 2 social media channels. Don't try to use them all. And honestly, this is the route I always recommend. I would never recommend for somebody to focus on more than 2 social media channels because you will just get burned out. That is too much. So what you want to do is try and think about where your audience is going to be, which channels make the most sense for your business, or you can just say, hey, which ones do I enjoy using? Which ones do I want to be active on? And go that way too. If you do leverage social media, do it on your own terms. Post at a frequency that works for you. Make sure that you stay consistent with your blog articles, but don't stress about social media. So, in summary, growing a blog without social media is extremely possible by prioritizing SEO, building an email list, and posting regularly. And you can also expand your reach by podcasting and creating a YouTube channel. Remember, social media is an option, not a necessity. So use it as much or as little as you'd like to complement your other efforts. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. Thanks and happy marketing.
Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed this, please subscribe. This episode was brought to you by ClearPath Online, a DIY SEO tool for your website.